Hi everyone and welcome to the PlantStock channel. If we haven't met yet, my name is Jesse and today we're going to talk a little about Ttcf and if there's any need to be worried about their upcoming Q3 earnings. Because my understanding that there is quite a lot of people, when I've looked at different forums, that people are nervous. They're nervous that considering what was going on in Q2, they're nervous that they're not going to actually beat the earnings now in Q3 either. And is that a real problem? Now, that is something we're going to talk about here today. But as always, before we get to it, I would appreciate an early thumbs up since it does help spread the video to more people out there. And do not forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed, if you are interested in companies like Ttcf, Beyond Meat, the Very Good Food Company, and Oatly, to name a few. And don't forget that bell button. And as we normally put in a little plug here now regarding the Discord channel, I'm going to do that now too. Don't forget to join the Discord channel. It's free right now. We focus on plant-based companies and other companies as well. Take a look in the description. Thank you, folks. I appreciate your help. So just recently, the other day, I was in someone else's Discord channel, and there was a conversation regarding the chef and the Q3, and that it's important that they actually deliver on the numbers this time, since they were a disappointment to a lot of people in Q2. And we were trying to come up with an understanding, why is it a huge problem if they didn't deliver now in Q3 either? Because most of us, we do have a long-term perspective, I think, even though we know there's quite a lot of shorts out there as well. So my understanding was, or is, that I don't see that as a big time issue if they don't deliver as much as many of us want to in the next couple of quarters, because I look at this company from a 5 to 10 years perspective, right? Now, there are some people out there who feel that if they don't deliver now in Q3, that could be a bad sign, considering that they are getting into more and more stores. And then if they're not delivering now on those numbers that we all expect them to have to a certain degree, well, that would be a bad sign for the future. That could mean that it's not as popular as we have hoped. And I kind of want to just talk about what I actually talked about in that Discord. Felt it was a good idea to make a video because I realized that there are quite a lot of people who have concerns. Now, yesterday I made a quick poll on my channel, on the community page. It's about 364 people have answered. I just asked if they will beat their earnings and if people are worried or not when it comes to Q3. And it seems that people are bullish. 40% believes they will beat it. About 18% think they won't meet the expectations, and some are worried at the 18% too. That doesn't mean that. So it sounds like around 20% are nervous, but that could be still that more people around these numbers could still be nervous, right? And what I want to do then is to try to explain my reasoning why I feel that we shouldn't be worried, right? Because first of all, as I've talked about, the overall industry, the plant-based sector is in its infancy, and especially Ttcf, right? As a brand, it's only existed for a few years, and it really didn't start to, make its dent in the market until the last year or so. So what I'm saying here, if we take a look at their products, yeah, they do have a lot of products if we compare them to a lot of other companies. Right now, they have about 73 products that we can see at their page. But we have to remember that we learned not long ago, I think it was the Jefferies conference back in June, when Matt let us know that about only 20% of these products actually represents 80% of their overall revenue, meaning that several of their products might not be that popular, right? So my theory is that could mean that as long as these more popular products actually keep selling and actually keeps people interested in their overall brand, people might eventually, and that takes time, open up their eyes when it comes to the other products. So eventually we could see them actually selling more. But again, these things take time, right? But it was also stated in the Discord channel that maybe some of these products, if they're not, popular enough, we would have to throw some of them away and focus on the winners, right? And that could be a good thing, right? That you have to evaluate your best sellers and maybe expand on those. And then in that way, the company will grow even more. And let's face it, guys, it talks about sales and marketing on their page, but they have barely begun their journey when it comes to that, right? I mean, as a brand and company, they are still quite unheard of. But when it comes to companies like Beyond Meat, the industry leader, everybody basically knows about them. I mean, here in Sweden, there isn't many people who don't know about Beyond Meat. I would say that it's the same thing in most countries in Europe and definitely in the US, right? And to actually kind of prove my point there, I took a look at Google Trends, right? If we take a look at only the last 12 months or so, because doing longer would be pointless since Tattoo Chef, the brand, hasn't existed that long. And we take a look here. This is just basically then when people on Google actually look for things like Beyond Meat products or Tattoo Chef products, right? Could be that people also look for Tattoo Chef stock, right? But take a look at here. If we take a look at the last year, we can see here. I don't know if you know how Google Trends works. If you take a look here, numbers represent search interest relative to the highest point on the chart for the given region and time. A value of 100 is the peak popularity for the term. A value of 50 means that the term is not that popular. And obviously, if it's 0, it's not very popular at all. But if we look at here, Beyond Meat is the red line, and you compare it to the blue line here, it's quite obvious in the last year when it comes to their products. I don't think, and this is in the US, right? This is in the US, and you can see that it's not comparable. I mean, here in like a year ago, 100 was the number for Beyond Meat compared to Tattoo Chef 4. Then in February, we have about 77 compared to 7. And then we see it equaling out a little here. But even here, if you look at 44, and then right now it's around 24 to 1, right? Still an incredibly huge difference. We have to keep that in mind. And then if we take a look at videos, these are some of the videos that's been made in the last few years regarding Beyond Meat. I mean, almost 300,000 here, 170,000. Then we have 42 million here. That's an insane number, right? We have 500,000, 1.8 million people. I mean, I'm not saying that Tattoo Chef products can't get these kind of numbers, but we're just not seeing it at this moment. No one really has heard about them in the same way. Let's say Tattoo Chef, if we look at maybe review, right? Yep, one person has 20,000 there, and then 23,000. And then they're basically talking about the stock, and that's a different thing, right? We have to remember, just because people talk about stocks doesn't mean that it's anything equal to how many people actually buy it, right? It's not like if millions of people buy Beyond Meat burgers, that majority of them actually cares about the stock. That's just the reality we live in right now. And another way to actually know also, to compare the companies, which is the biggest, which is the most popular. They're not even close again. I mean, take a look at Beyond Meat's Instagram, over 1 million. And we know Tattoo Chef has about 34,000. They are actually expanding, it's growing a little quicker now, but still very small in comparison. But I don't think that's a bad thing in itself. That actually shows us that there's ample room for Tattoo Chef to actually become more and more known. There's room to expand, right? We are in an industry that is going to grow more and more. I know that there are some experts, some analysts that claims that we can see the plant-based industry, the sector being worth around $160 billion before the end of the decade. And I actually believe that's lowballing. I can see it being way bigger than that. But still, that means that there is ample room for these companies to grow, especially a company like Tattoo Chef that's just started out. So why I'm talking about this is that whatever we expect for Q3 or even Q4, I don't think it should matter in the long term. If you are a long-term perspective, folks, and you believe this is a great company and everything they're doing, what they're producing, the management team, their overall outlook, their balance sheet, as we know, which is great, we shouldn't worry about these short-term things, because considering what's going on in the market now, right? I mean, what's going on in the world, and Rona is still not over, far from it, considering the D variant. And then the shipping costs. I mean, if they still have 1 or 2 or 3 reports right now, quarterlies, that doesn't meet our expectations, nothing bad is going to happen. Well, obviously, I don't dare to say too much at this moment what we could expect. I think it's very hard. We know that what they got for Q2 was a disappointment, but if we take a look at what the 2 analysts that are actually looking at them right now think, it's probably going to be around $63 to $64 million. And it doesn't seem impossible at all that they could reach those numbers, considering that they've gotten into more and more stores now. We know they came into 1,800 stores in Kroger, but obviously that was in September, so we might not be able to see those numbers until Q4. But also, let's not forget, I mean, it's growing exponentially like crazy. As we know, they were expecting to be at around 10,000 stores before the end of the year, right? And now they're already at 13,000 stores. They were talking about 12,000 stores before Q3, constantly having to upgrade their expectations. And now it's already 13,000. And we're like a month before the Q3 report. So it is looking good. Again, I'm just talking about a long-term perspective here. I don't think we need to worry too much about these kind of numbers. It doesn't mean it doesn't make sense and that it isn't important. It is. But again, these kind of companies, it takes time to actually explode. Remember the kind of growth they've had in the last year. I mean, most quarterlies has been like 50-60% growth. And even though people were disappointed last quarter, Q2, it was still like 46-47% growth. I mean, that's incredible numbers, right? I'm personally not nervous about what's going to happen in Q3. It's going to be interesting. And personally, I think there's a okay chance that they might actually meet expectations this time. But again, there's no guarantee, but they're a plant-based company in sectors that is going to explode in the next decade. They're already starting to, put out all the different players on the chessboard, right? So when they are ready to just expand even more, I can see this company actually really fly off with time, but it's going to take time. It's going to take a couple of years most likely. So, and again, I think that's a good thing, because now we have a perfect opportunity to invest at great prices. And even though they're not an industry leader, they're one of the first ones. They're one of the bigger ones, right? They came out. And that means that in a couple of years from now, the brand awareness will more than likely grow bigger, and they will probably be one of the biggest players. All right, folks, that was it for today. I truly hope you got a lot of value from today's video. And if you did, make sure to smash that like button. And if you want to keep getting more information like this, make sure to subscribe. And don't forget about the Discord channel. If you want to be part of that, make sure to take a look down below in the description. It's free for now. Do not forget, this was not financial advice. These were just my own thoughts and opinions. It's important to do your own due diligence and invest safe. Have a great day. Hope to see you soon, and peace out.